It's the Digital Board Gamer here. Today we're going to be learning Map Masters. Now this is going to be for the Versus version. As of when I was recording this, the co-op version was not on BGA yet, so this is just the Versus mode. The goal of the game is to get the most points. You're going to do that over 6 rounds. So tracked down here. If you click here, you get a little scorecard, and that'll keep track of your rounds. Here are the few phases in the game. First, we draw in the primary objective. That's going to be located down here. You see we're going to get scoring 1 victory point per sword we gain. After that, we're going to go to the market phase, but I'm going to skip that for right now because I think it'll make more sense after we do 1 round. So we'll both pass. And then we'll move on to the making dungeon phase. Then we're going to draw up to 5 cards. You'll have cards you just bought from the market phase in your hand, but then you'll equal up to 5. Then we're going to be building our maze. To build a maze, you click on the card, you hit add, and then you can see it's there. I can click on it. I can rotate them around. If I want to add a second one, I can click on it. You don't have to keep them at the same height. What I mean by that is I can go like here, and then I can add the card there, so the bottom and the top of these cards interact. Notice that cards can only be played vertically, not horizontally. You can, of course, not overlap cards. All right, once your dungeon is built, you can hit Explore. When you explore, you have to start from one of the edges of the board. So I'm going to start here. And then your character is going to make his way across different adventures. When you enter a room, the room will get circled, and then you can come out one of the exits of the room. When you get to an intersection, you can see I can go left or right. I will continue left. Now, you will hit bumps in the road. In this case, it is a lock symbol. Lock symbols, you have to have keys in your inventory already. So currently I have 2 keys, so I'll be able to unlock this lock no problem. Notice when you travel over items, you circle them to gain them, and now I'm going to go to the lock, cross it out, and move on. And again, every time I get to a junction, I have the ability to go left or up, and now right or left, and then so on. A couple rules when building your path. You cannot cross your line at any point. You cannot double back and use the same line twice. You can, though, enter a room, go on next, and come back into the room as long as your line doesn't cross itself. This one's fine here because this is actually a lower level below it. Your maze is going to end in one of 4 ways. You're going to reach the side and exit. You're going to reach a obstacle you cannot overcome, so either a lock or a monster. Or it's possible you'll reach a dead end. I don't have any on my cards here. It's possible you reach a dead end like this one here. You'll reach this spot and there's no way out. And lastly, the last way to end is hitting back your own path. If you cross back over your own path, that'll also end your run. Down here in the bottom left, you'll see a little cheat sheet. And you can see what items and what they do. So you can see a key opens a lock, a sword defeats a monster. If you get a scroll, you can use a magic teleporter. The rope will allow you to go over lava pits and open pits. And then finally, there's the recycling symbol and the scissor symbol. These are both going to be used after you're done building your dungeon, and I'll show you in a second. So now I'm done. I'm going to hit Finish Exploration. Then a second objective will be revealed. This objective here is scored slightly different. If you look at the score, my first objective, which was swords, I scored 1 point for each of those. Then the second objective, which you don't know and gets flipped over randomly, end of the game, you'll actually take all of these numbers and divide it by 2. You basically only score half the amount of points for each. Then we'll go to the refresh phase. Now in the refresh phase, we're going to use these 2 items. If you get the recycling symbol, you can save a card you just used for the next round. And finally, if you get the scissors, you can destroy a card from your current dungeon. This will allow you to make your deck a little better, draw worse cards less. All right, now it's the market phase. At the beginning of the game, you'll have $6, so you can buy something the first round. And it's very easy getting more money during the dungeon run. You'll see there's little coin symbols on cards. So first and foremost are the fairy symbols. They're over here. These are items you can buy here. They cost $1 each. They do not count towards the fulfillment of the primary or secondary goal. And if you don't use them, they get discarded. But if you know right away that you might need a sword, you could buy that and have a sword to use. Next are spell books. These here give you a special ability to either like cheat the system or move a certain way, or so on. Each player can hold 2 spell books. And if you buy a third, you have to discard 1. And then lastly, there are 4 piles here. You see 3s, 4, 5s, and 6. These are all dungeon cards. Like I said before, if I bought this 6 here, like I'm going to, it's going to go in my hand, and I will draw 4 cards plus this one I just got. So we'll hit pass. And now I'll draw 4 cards and that one I have to build my dungeon again. And then, like I said, you have your turn marker here, but we play 6 rounds, and then the game is over. You'll notice here there's a little hourglass here on some of the scorecards. If you're playing IRL, those give you a bonus if you complete your dungeon first. But on turn-based, you don't worry about it. But if you play real-time, you do get a little point there for completing your dungeon first before your opponent. So I want to show you real quick how a teleporter works. First, you have to have a magic scroll to make a teleporter work. But you see, you simply go on the teleporter, and then you'll get the ability to navigate to another teleporter. This player has 3 options. They could go here, here, or here. They choose here, and they continue on their way. If they're able to loop around and get back to this teleporter pad, and they had another magic scroll, then they could, of course, come down here and continue on their way. If you have a rope and you get to a pit, you have the option to either swing over it and use the rope up, or you could fall down like this character, and then you have to continue along this path. I'll show you one more example before we end here. So this goal here is to collect the most money, so I'm trying to use all my money parts on my dungeon. So I'll come in, I'm going to start here, go over, and then I need to make sure I collect the magic scroll so I can use the teleporter. Okay, and that's my only option, so the game automatically did it for me. I only missed 1 possible gold on my dungeon, and then I hit finish. Then we see what the second objective is. It's barrels. Then I hit refresh. And I can check my score. I scored 6 and 3. And I left the dungeon here, so I get a little check mark. What I mean by that is my character got to the edge of a card. I didn't get stuck. And then I moved to the next round. All right, so you can see a scoring here. You can see them. These are my scores for the main goals. These are the secondary goals. Like I said, you add all these up, which would be 16, and then divided by 2. This is the real-time thing, like I said, so I don't need to bother with that. And then here, every turn I was able to make it out of the dungeon. I had the most of those, so I scored 2 points. If you look at my opponent's scoreboard card, you see the last turn he did not make it out, so he got the second most, so he only scored a point. Then lastly, you take your total number of money divided by 3, and that's how many points you get. Lastly, you might wonder why my line goes a lot faster. If you don't know this, there's a little 3 lines here, and then there's the path speedy I found. Makes it move quite a bit faster. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions, and maybe if you'd like to see the co-op version when that gets released. Well, as always, I've been the Digital Board Gamer. Good luck and have fun.